And they talked together of all these things which had happened. And it came to pass that while they communed together and reasoned, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. But their eyes were holden that they should not know him. So their eyes were closed. Jesus has suddenly appeared to them. Jesus, of course, could pass through walls, could suddenly appear and disappear. And this is interesting because it gives us an idea of what we too will be able to do in our new bodies when we get our new resurrected bodies. Jesus being the first fruits, and we being fruits further on down the way, so to speak, at the second coming of Jesus Christ. We too will receive a new body, or in other words, a resurrected body. This mortal will one day put on immortality. And should you be dead in that day when Jesus returns, the dead in Christ will rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. Well, this might all seem like idle women's tales as it did back then, when they saw the first fruits, the first one to rise again from the dead being Jesus, and he paving the way for all of us who believe in Jesus to also walk in newness of life, to receive a new resurrected body. This mortal shall put on immortality, and this corruptible body that can so easily perish and die for whatever reason will one day have an incorruptible body just like Jesus. Well, Jesus could appear and disappear or reappear or show up wherever he chose. He could cross from one dimension into another. And here he is, crossing from that other dimension into this dimension and appearing to these two disciples here. And it came to pass that while they communed together, these two, and reasoned, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. But their eyes were holden that they should not know him. And he said unto them, What manner of communications are these that ye have one to another as ye walk and are sad? And the one of them whose name was Cleopas, don't forget Jesus here had gone through quite a terrifying ordeal in being dragged away, arrested, crucified, whipped, and nailed to a cross, and had been died, gave up the ghost, his spirit, had gone down to the underworld of hell. Because he rises again, and he's now in his resurrected body, and his spirit is indeed up, and so he's not letting all of this drag him down, though he'd gone through quite an ordeal. You might think, well, he must have had quite a hangover from all of that, so to speak, but no, yes, Jesus no doubt did, and this must have shook him up. But he's now in his resurrected body, because he's putting the spirit above the flesh here, and the flesh isn't like the flesh that he knew on earth. He's now in a resurrected body, and what he's doing is paving the way for all of the others that would believe in him, that they too will receive a resurrected body, just like Jesus. And the example set down here is the kind of things that we're going to be able to do in our resurrected bodies. So he suddenly appears to these disciples as if stepping out of nowhere, but no doubt he stepped out of that other dimension, the spirit world, and crosses over into this world. But their eyes were holden that they should know him. So they're walking away, and it came to pass that while they communed together and reasoned, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. He just simply turned up out of nowhere, it would appear. But their eyes were opened that they should not know him. So he'd kind of blinded their eyes, so at first they didn't know who he was. And he said unto them, What manner of communication are these that ye have one to another as ye walk and are sad? And the one of them whose name was Cleopas answered and said unto him, Art thou a stranger in Jerusalem? Well, they're talking to Jesus, don't forget. Art thou only a stranger in Jerusalem, and has not known the things which are come to pass there in these days. Wait, where have you been, mate? Don't you understand what's been going on? The talk of the town is Jesus Christ. He'd gone around healing millions, doing all of these miracles. And these sinful men, being the scribes and Pharisees, had brought him before Pilate and had him crucified. Where have you been? And he said unto them, what things? And they said unto him concerning Jesus of Nazareth, which was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people. Like, where have you been? They didn't realize, of course, they're talking to Jesus. And how the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death and have crucified him. But we trusted that had been he which should have redeemed Israel, and beside all this, today is the third day since these things were done. So they're well shook up and they're well sad because what's happened. And they didn't totally understand Jesus' ministry on earth. But they're going to now be wiser after the event because Jesus is going to open up the eyes of their understanding. Yea, and certain women also of our company made us astonished, which were early at the sepulchre. So their head is spinning round. These women had said they'd gone to the sepulchre to anoint the body of Jesus. They come running back and said, Jesus isn't there, he's gone. So they're absolutely shocked. And these two angels appeared to us saying, why seek ye the living among the dead? So very much in a state of awe and shock and sorrow and bewilderment as to what's happened. Their best friend, their shepherd, the one they'd looked to for some form of deliverance, was now taken from them, was crucified, thrown into another man's tomb, a rich man's tomb. And now he's disappeared, and these two women come running back saying they've seen angels, two angels, shining. And it seemed to us like idle tales. Where have you been? This is the talk of the town. And here we are, confused and perplexed, and wow, you show up, maybe you don't know what's been going on. Well, we're, of course, putting you in the picture. Yea, and certain women also of our company made us astonished, which were early at the sepulchre, and when they found not his body, they came saying that they'd seen a vision of angels, which said he was alive. Wow, crikey, this is absolute, shock and awe to us. I mean, where have you been? And certain of them which were with us went to the sepulchre and found it even so as the women had said, but him they saw not. Well, this is what's been going on. And this is why we're so sad. This is why we're so perplexed. Then he said unto them, O fools, and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not Christ to have suffered these things and to enter into his glory? So he's telling them all these things, and they still haven't had their eyes open yet. They don't know that it's Jesus talking to them. And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. Wow. So suddenly, I guess they must have had, or Jesus had it all in memory, intact in his mind in memory. He suddenly opens up the prophecies of Moses. Well, it's interesting to go to Moses and what he said, and to see if that prophecy did come true, because Jesus is now opening their eyes to prophecy written about himself in scriptures. So starting with Moses and beginning at Moses, and he goes on into the prophets. So beginning at Moses, he starts to open their eyes to help them understand what is taking place. They're now going to be wiser after the event and the events that would unfold were all prophesied thousands of years earlier on, even as far back as the days of